When you hear the name Howard Hughes, what comes to mind? For most of us, it's this image of a titan, right? A brilliant aviator, a maverick filmmaker, an industrialist who literally reshaped America. But he was also a phantom, a man who built a global empire from a darkened hotel room only to become a prisoner inside of it. So let's dive into this incredible and ultimately tragic paradox.
This slide really says it all. It's the whole mystery of his life in one place. On one side, you've got the myth, the daredevil pilot, the Hollywood mogul citing off censors, the defiant billionaire who took on the US government. And then there's the final reality, a 94-pound recluse, completely crippled by his OCD, who died a total phantom. How does one person become both of these men? That's what we're going to unpack.
To understand the fall, you first have to understand the absolutely monumental rise. And it all started not in the sky or on a film set, but deep underground, with one single invention that would become the engine for every single one of his wild ambitions. Right here, this drill bit is the secret to everything. His father invented and patented a design that could just chew through hard rock that other drills couldn't touch. And the brilliant part? They leased the bits out. They didn't sell them. This created a never-ending river of cash from the oil boom. The Hughes Tool Company basically became Howard's personal ATM, and he wasted zero time taking control. After his parents passed away, a 19-year-old Hughes, just a teenager really, marches into court, has himself declared an adult, and immediately buys out every single relative. This move gave him absolute financial freedom. He answered to no board, no stockholders. He answered only to himself, which, allowed him to chase his two great passions, movies and airplanes. So he takes that oil money and just cannonballs into Hollywood. And he wasn't just some producer, he was this obsessive force of nature. For Hell's Angels, when sound became a thing, he famously scrapped the finished silent version and reshot the entire movie. It cost a fortune. Then he battled the censors for years to get the brutally violent Scarface released. And with The Outlaw, he practically invented the modern marketing blitz, focusing the entire campaign on his new star, Jane Russell. The guy just refused to play by anyone else's rules. And this is what's so amazing about him. While he was turning Hollywood completely upside down, he was simultaneously trying to conquer the sky. And boy, did he ever. He wasn't just some rich guy who bought planes. No. He was a world-class engineer and a fearless pilot who personally tested his own radical designs. In 1935, he set the world's speed record. In 1937, he flew across the United States faster than anyone in history. And then, in 1938, he flew around the entire globe in just over 91 hours, slashing the old record in half. He became a global hero, a genuine superstar. Hughes seemed totally invincible. He was a master of the silver screen and the sky. But one single event, one fiery crash in 1946, would mark the point of no return. This was the moment the public hero began that long, slow retreat into a private hell. Just look at how suddenly this happened. On July 6th, he's Howard Hughes, world-famous aviator, on top of the world. Just 24 hours later, he's being pulled from the burning wreckage of his experimental spy plane after it malfunctioned and slammed into a Beverly Hills neighborhood. Nobody expected him to survive. He did survive the crash, but the aftermath basically handed him 2 life sentences. The first was chronic, agonizing pain from his injuries, which led to a lifelong dependency on opiates just to function. The second, and maybe the more destructive one, was that the trauma from the crash just poured gasoline on his underlying OCD. It transformed his eccentric quirks into these completely debilitating obsessions. And from this point forward, the story totally changes. The vibrant public figure starts to fade away, and he's replaced by a recluse who, paradoxically, would wield more power than ever before, all from inside a blacked-out hotel room. This is where the story gets truly bizarre. In public, his empire was still a juggernaut. He was running the airline TWA, fighting corporate monopolies, and buying up Las Vegas to turn it from a mob town into a corporate empire. But privately, he was a ghost. He lived in these sealed-off penthouses, communicated only by written memo, and his own top executives hadn't physically seen him in years. So let's look at the reality of this self-imposed prison. His germophobia got so extreme that he would wear empty Kleenex boxes on his feet just to avoid touching the floor. His diet was the exact same thing, day in, day out. His personal hygiene was, it was basically non-existent. It's almost impossible to comprehend that he was building an empire while living like this.
So you're probably wondering, how did he run anything? He did it through this small, incredibly trusted circle of aides, who got the nickname the Mormon Mafia. He hired them specifically because he believed their faith made them more trustworthy. These guys were his hands, his eyes, and his voice to a world he refused to be a part of anymore. This quote just perfectly sums up that last chapter of his life. He was a disembodied will, an invisible force whose memos could launch airlines, build casinos, and even help the CIA with covert ops, all while he was personally wasting away in total seclusion. So when it was all said and done, what was left? Well, the legacy of Howard Hughes is as contradictory as his life was. It's this wild mix of world-changing innovation and a deeply, deeply tragic cautionary tale. And make no mistake, his impact is undeniable. The Howard Hughes Medical Institute is one of the most important medical research organizations on the planet. He literally made Las Vegas what it is today, cleaning out the mob. His work in aviation and aerospace shaped modern flight and national defense. And his films pushed boundaries. The accomplishments are just staggering. But the final image, it brings us right back to this. He died, fittingly, in an airplane, being flown from his hotel in Mexico to a hospital in Houston. He weighed less than 100 pounds. He had long, matted hair and overgrown nails. This man, who was once one of the most famous faces on Earth, was so unrecognizable that the FBI had to use his old fingerprints to officially identify his body. And that really brings us to the final, haunting question. Howard Hughes spent his entire life in a relentless pursuit of control over his business, over technology, over his environment. And in the end, he got it. He achieved absolute control. But in locking the world out, he locked himself in, leaving all of us to wonder, what does it really mean to be rich, to be powerful, and ultimately, to be free?